Hello there guys. Dark Shadows here. And today is my 2nd year anniversary about my grandfather's funeral. Anyways, I'm going to be explaining about my 2nd year anniversary about my grandfather's funeral. It's going to be a sad story, and this will be shocking to all of you guys. So apparently, back in 2018, my grandfather was gone to a supermarket store at Mishinda in Houston, Texas. Within 2.5 hours later, my grandmother was trying to find my grandfather in my grandmother's house everywhere, but she couldn't find him. I was very nervous that my grandfather has lost his memory and then blaming at my grandmother, because she couldn't be able to take care of him. So my grandmother calls 911 to report if she lost her grandfather. After she calls 911, the police officer came and asked my grandmother some questions if she couldn't find my grandfather. To be honest, she couldn't understand English, but she can speak Vietnamese. She was very worried when my grandfather was gone to the supermarket store at Mishinda, and then, she could explain to the police officer what happened to my grandfather. I know my uncle lives in my grandmother's house in Houston, Texas. In June 20th, 2020, it's going to be a sad story about my grandfather who died from COVID-19 and on the age of 84. Basically guys, my grandfather was gone to the nursing home, when no one was able to take good care of him. My parents, my grandmother, uncle, and I were very worried about my grandfather, when he was still at the nursing home. Within few hours ago, my grandmother came to pick up my grandfather from the nursing home, and then taking him to the hospital. When my grandfather was sick, he was infected from the positive COVID-19. I was very shocked about what was going on. On June 21st, 2020, the doctor checked his lungs. If he has trouble breathing, having an empty stomach, or having any type of symptoms, then that means the sad part is that he died from COVID-19. My parents and I were crying about my grandfather who died on the age of 84. He was born in 1938 in Houston, Texas, when he was Vietnamese, but he passed away in the hospital when my grandmother saw what happened to my grandfather. And on June 22, 2020, my parents, my cousin, my grandmother and I were gone to the funeral at 7 o'clock in the morning, before the funeral starts at 10 o'clock. I was crying in tears, and praying for my grandfather after he had passed away. I've been giving roses to my grandfather at the funeral. And that's the end of the sad story about my 2nd year anniversary of my grandfather's funeral. So please don't do anything stupid about my grandfather's funeral, or else you will have a serious consequences. Do you guys understand? But anyways, that's all I have to say. This is me, signing off. Goodbye everyone and peace out.